So it goes from 260 or 70 sales in 2019. You're in the 600s in 2020. And I think people got on your tail chasing you in 2021, man. So it's 1,500 transactions plus. I think the most important thing here with my friend Suneet is you're a big contributor. Suneet, welcome, dude. It's so cool to hang out. What brought you here, man? Take us back to the beginning of this wild ride you've been on. And then I think most importantly, what people are really going to want to hear is certainly behind the curtain, but the last 12 months and what's going on. But take us back to the beginning, man.
Sure. So I was a big troublemaker as a kid, real big. Went to a lot of junior colleges, graduated with a business degree from Chico State, which used to be a legendary party school, quit being when I left, but hey, that's a different story. And by chance got in a mortgage. Road mortgage really came up hard, and that's kind of like where the whole my first inkling of leads and like sales skills. I remember I was struggling, and my dad gave me a Tony Robbins set, and I listened to it, and it totally got me fired up, right? Like I remember driving home from seeing him in San Jose and listening to it on CD, and then got into Barry Habib and learned how to sell the hell out of an option arm, and I taught all my loan officers how to do that. So, kind of got going, mortgage blew up on me, got in the dispensary business, kind of started that out, was like a pioneer for that in California. And also blew up really fast in that because leveraging marketing, leveraging tech, and leveraging business experience, not being like a hippie who was running them, being a businessman. And it's, all these things, and hired a lot of people, fired a lot of people, learned about effective management and leadership and recruiting. And I think then that kind of went away, and sat around for a year and got into real estate because one of my buddies called me and said, "Hey, I got my license. I made 400 grand this year." He was exaggerating, come to find out. But I was sitting on the couch for like 2 years, just working out twice a day and like raising dogs and playing video games. Like that was my life. And I've made some money by consulting, but my mom wasn't proud, and that's important to me. Oh. So got my license, and my first weekend, one of my boys said, "Hey," one of my partners who got in a mortgage, he said, "Hey, you can buy leads off Zillow." And I was all, "Sweet, you got any money?" He's like, "Yeah, sure." So he loaned me some money. I had $400. He loaned me some money, and I bought the leads. Only leads that were left in Zillow at the time. That was 2014. No one in my brokerage spent any money with Zillow. No one in my brokerage used a CRM. It was a traditional brokerage. I was the youngest dude there.
How long ago was that?
2014.
Wow.
Right? So not that long. That's when I got licensed, was 2014. Became rookie of the year, and just started going on a quest for more knowledge. Like I would talk about coaching to the managing broker of that old school dinosaur office that at one time was a Prudential office. So you know who I'm talking about, right? And I was the youngest dude in there. I may have been the only brown guy in there too. Nothing against them, but so got out of there and kind of went on a journey. Like I wanted to get into coaching. I wanted to get into learning. Went to Keller and really got, Keller's good. They do that really well, like self-development. And I became a student, and I became like a traveling student, even with no money. And, my wife was supportive, but the success just started to compound by the more people that I met. And the more rooms I sat in. I've always been elevating my room. We were talking about that yesterday, right? Like, and really these old adages that, the Napoleon Hill shit, you know what? It really works.
Well, it does, because I think that, the one thing that I said in the intro, Suneet, is certainly talked about your numbers, but I think one of the things that you've done and you're recognized throughout the industry. I mean, I think you've got more friends in real estate than anyone, probably.
I think I do too.
I mean,
weird. It's
everyone.
Weird, right?
Yeah. I was talking to Chrissy Mulder the other day, and she said, I saw what Suneet's doing. I just love it. And she says, how can you not just love Suneet? He's just amazing. And then to see him winning like that. But I think that, one of the things that, you talk about going out to all those events and things, there was something in you, and I don't know, maybe it's your mom. I mean, and I think it's neat for people to know the backfield. I mean, your mom is an amazing human being, not just a smart woman, but like an amazing human being and where she comes from. And why I bring that up, and I'd love you to share a little bit about her, is that although you were going out there to gather knowledge, you had this same conviction to go out and give back what you've received.
Yeah, I mean, dude, it's just kind of organic. And like, as far as, and I became really good. And as I reflect back, it's always been the case, even since college. I've been really good at building relationships and being likable, right? And we know that that's how you persuade people. And I mean, like, how to win friends and influence people, like that was ingrained in me, like building the relationships, and relationships open doors, period.
Did you go, when you started, certainly you were an individual agent, and then you started looking at team and brokerage, what route were you most intentional about? Were you most intentional about the team, and then the brokerage became, hey, it would only make sense for me to just have a brokerage in addition to a team? Or was it, hey, I'm going to go down, I'm going to build a brokerage, and then from building the brokerage, you said, wait a minute, there's this other silo of the business I can build? How did that all come to be?
Sure. So like I was sitting, and I remember the coach I had at the time said, Suneet, you should really start a team. And I said, dude, I'm happy like making my 70 grand a year. I was like such a fool, like being an imposter. I'm happy making this 70 grand a year, whatever. I don't need any fancy shit. I'd already lived that life. So I thought, right? I already had all the nice stuff. So I was just content, happy, satisfied with being content, which is a weird sentence to say, but that I was content. And my lady got pregnant, and at the same time, I was trying to get back in the dispensary game. And what I realized, I was driving home, and I realized, John, it's not that I want to be in the dispensary game, it's that I like operating a business. I like being, so this is like kind of an Indian joke, and I'm allowed to say, I like being a shopkeeper. Right?
I don't even know.
I like being a shopkeeper. So I was sitting at the Keller Williams office. I said, fuck it. I'm going to start a team. I stood up. I said, hey, I got leads. Does anybody want to be on a team 50-50? And 5 people said yes. I said,
the Suneet recruiting strategy has been revealed. Oh my God.
Everybody who was sitting around me said yes. I said, well, shit, I better figure this out.
Oh, where were you at technologically at that point in time? You had leads coming in, but where were you at?
Commissions Inc. and Zillow. And then at that point, I got deeper into it through my relationship. I came up big time with Tristan and Lab Coat Agents. I give them a lot of credit to my success. Tristan won't accept it, but I was an annoying kid sending him DMs, kind of like we get all the time from randoms. That was me and Tristan, and he was gracious enough to actually not charge me shit and give me information that open the door. So right, so then I had the team, and the challenge I had in that at that brokerage was the double splits to the team and to the brokerage. The agents in my organization were having a challenge paying both. So I said, well, I can open up a brokerage. And someone said, no, here's 100% option. So I went to 100% option locally. That's a franchise. And I wasn't a fan of their leadership or their support. And I know that I could school. Sold 3 times as many houses as they did this year, but I'm not counting. So I, and I had been traveling. I had great relationships. The guys at Big Block, I said, hey, let's just do it. So the brokerage came after the team. And also I wanted the flexibility to be able to work with, you asked me my recruiting goal, I want all the agents. So
it's not a number, just all.
Yeah, all. So the brokerage is just another venue for me to work with more agents in organization.
Very good. So talk about that leap from the 200s to the 600. Talk about that year. What took place over those 12 months?
Yeah, so a lot of recruiting. Honestly, I recruited full time, isn't it? Yeah, I recruited full time, and
And and you, so you owned that. Now you're building this business where you'll hear a lot of people, they get to that, 290-ish to 3, 4, 5, 600, and they go and they hire a recruiter. That's someone that absolutely owns it. Certainly as the CEO, you own everything, but I mean, like, you were the one that was going to deliver. You owned that process when you went from the high twos to 600, 700 transactions.
I
Period.
did, I did. Period. I mean, I got crystal clear in that in the presentation, which I always talk about. Like everyone talks about, get your fucking presentation dialed, right? And my presentation was dialed. I did 2 this morning actually, just for shits and giggles. I signed them both up. So hey, the from a free Indeed ad. But anyways, but yeah, I just owned the recruiting. At the same time, we had some great relationships that got really fruitful during that time and really allowed us to do more transactions. And it was just a mix and growth, like always. Like, I don't know, we talk about it too, is the sickness, like this growth mindset. Like there's no, I can't believe I even said online. Yeah, insatiable. That's a good word. Like I can't believe, I remember sitting on a phone call with a real estate coach I had at the time saying, "Nah, dude, I'm happy. I'm happy with this. I don't need any of that." Like, I don't know which one is the imposter, right? That guy or this guy, but whatever it is, I like this guy more. So
That's funny, man.
yeah.
What at what point did you, well, let's talk about this. Certainly there's technology that evolves, but we're just talking about a 3-year time span. We're talking 19, 20, 21. Has the activity back in 2019, were you tilted more towards having to do a lot more outbound activity, or did your marketing expertise from previous businesses come to a point where it was more of a magnetic type thing? Because I know how you're doing it now. Yeah, you do reach outs, but it's, you've built this brand. But talk about those first couple of years of recruiting. What did the activity look like besides raise your hand, I'll give you leads for 50%?
I mean, there was a lot of outbound activity. Any, like, air, land, sea, whatever we could do. And none of that has changed. In fact, I've quadrupled down on it this month, just for more outbound activity. But it was just really any sales type of environment. I was trying to have as many conversations as possible and just doing everything, right? Like, yes, doing everything.
So, and at what point did you really go deep in with Zillow?
So that was, like, I always had those leads, $400 a month, and then they eventually went up to $2,000 a month. And in that same time, I went really deep with Realtor.com and so some of the former execs at Realtor.com really changed my life by they would call us and give me all half of Sacramento for ridiculous percentages off, right? Like ridiculous. Like, you would love to get leads for that price this day. And they just kept on doing it because they knew I would keep on spending. And that opened the door, I think, to Zillow, right? And then in Zillow, we got really deep in 2019. And then it's really been, as you know, off to the races. Like, they've taken care of me. I launched Flex in Northern California. I have a great relationship with those guys. I'm just very grateful for that. You were there for all of it, so yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah, that's for sure. The when you look at certainly there's the leads and there's the all the systems and processes around converting the leads. Let's talk about what you mentioned earlier, the single most important thing, recruiting. I mean, it's been bringing bodies in. Yet, someone had asked you a week ago, hey, I'm good as long as I'm under a 30% attrition rate, which is excellent across the board when you get to your volume. if you look at the dynamic, yeah, you want them all, but if you look at the dynamic over the agents that you've hired, is the avatar of the agent, experience in the business, time in the business, has that changed much for you from 18 to 19, for 2018, 19, 20, and into 21? Or is it the
So,
same dynamic?
that's fascinating, because as I look back, the
Mhm.
people who are still with us and who have started with us and been successful are still there, right? But the dynamic now, the avatar now is almost, is a single mother. We have, 20 of them who are very about their money and being very successful. And you were raised from a single mother, right? And
Yep.
my
Oh,
mom
yeah.
was remarried and this shit. I had a great stepdad, but I'm sure you did too. But it's really cool, right? And our environment now, it's really diverse. It's really diverse.
Mhm.
It's like weirdly diverse. It's almost like,
Mhm.
man, this is crazy. It's like a Benetton advertisement. But
I'm not Benetton. Don't
yeah,
age us like that,
yeah,
Suneet.
okay. Um, but the the avatar is a lot of single mothers and a really diverse crew. And it's different, right? Because I came up at that office where I was the only brown guy and the youngest dude.
Would you say this year, though, the last 12 months, it's been more experienced agents reaching out to you than any other 12-month time frame before?
Yes.
Why is that?
Because I'm omnipresent and they can't escape me. When they go show a listing, 1 out of 5 chance that listing's mine. 20%, right?
So good.
They go on social media, they're going to see my face, unless my retargeting people are blowing it that day. But every time I see an agent, every time I talk to anybody, they know exactly who I am. They get my emails every week. The omnipresence is just, and one of the best ways to market your brand is by killing it in production, right? One of the best ways to market your brand is by having a sign in every fucking yard in Sacramento.
Right. Right.
So we got that.
Right. Well, and here's the other thing too, because I asked that, certainly a lot of them are rhetorical, because I know, being a close friend of yours, I've seen in the last year a lot of agents coming from other companies that were, doing some decent business somewhere else. But here's the thing, that can't continue to happen, Suneet. I mean, sure, you've got this trajectory of growth, and you've got the branding, and you're crushing it, and all of your consistent video and marketing, but you had to deliver. And what I mean by deliver is those, and I remember there was a month where 10 plus of them, I think, came over that were experienced, if
Yeah.
I'm not mistaken, right? But for that to happen, you had to get them productive, and you can't make people productive. What is it do you feel? Hey, listen, we got all kinds of friends with leads, right? I mean, none of our friends to ever talk about a problem of leads, and if they bring that up, we laugh, because you don't have a lead problem. No one has that
Yeah.
problem. Um, and the second issue is you can't make people do anything. What is it within your environment, whether it's from a leadership style, it is systems, processes, that allows an agent to come over to you, and a lot of them that were licensed, and be more productive and stay, which then of course sends a massive message to the market when you're in the recruiting game?
Sure. So I think there's like two answers here, and most of it I learned from you, as you know. But I mean, like, my so when an agent comes on board, our onboarding and our process, it's not static. And if you are static in that process, you're going to have a failure to launch for some people. You have to be flexible, and you have to really get with the agent and understand where you need to be flexible. Because if you got one process, people ain't going to fucking like it, especially if they're an experienced, productive agent. And I see this happen all the time, right? So I would say be flexible in your onboarding based on, and I hate to say this, but I base it on how I feel about the conversation and the production, right? Because
Mm.
it's just realistic. Um, oh, and not, well, you're new to the team, you have to do this. Now it's, let's have a conversation, let's talk it out. When they're experienced, usually I'm the one doing a lot of the heavy lifting. And, I also want them to be productive as fast as possible. That's one thing. Number two is a lot of the teams, it's one style, right? Where you have to make these calls every day, you have to perform these activities. And nothing I say is going to make anybody perform any activities. And my energy, I'm not going to fucking lose my energy and my emotions on somebody who won't do the shit, right? Like I've stopped trying to motivate these people because I know I can't. So what do? Is I facilitate the environment for them to be successful, right? And you plug in or you plug out. And we'll help you plug in, but I'm not going to do this one size fits all top down management. You have to make fucking this many calls. You have to do this, because I just know it's not going to happen, and I'm not going to stress myself out.
Really good. At what point did you, in looking at the growth, and I can remember time frame, but when you started looking at a need for true sales manager, because you were probably, if I'm not mistaken, you were the database manager, you were inspecting on the leads. You were the sales manager, you were training. I mean, you were everything, which I think every team leader is, the janitor and all that stuff. But at what point in your business did you make the decision, something, I need someone that handles X? Because you've got two people that have been key. One person that handles X, another person that handles Y for me so that I can do Z. Talk about those roles, talk about why and when that was.
So we always had, and I think about this often, just as we increase, I hired another staff person yesterday. So I always think about that, kind of our initial organization, and it was really me and the office manager who also cut checks and was the deal doctor, right? And that was it. Then I had a couple, a mentor working who had a double job in the Zillow side. I had all these people with multiple jobs. I had some mentors, and which is basically middle management getting not paid anything. Right. And it came to a point where I had and wanted to do more. And honestly, our production was already number one, and I was just in everything. Not every deal doctor, and still not every deal doctor. Don't you dare ask me a question about a deal or a contract, and I'll say no. Don't ask me. But it came to a point, and I just wanted somebody to own parts of conversion, right? So hire that person, right? Dale, great sales manager and great deal doctor, great support person that's caring. We were doing so many traditional listings. I wanted a great listing manager, and that was Anna Stender, who came to your event, who's now also moving over to a team leader. And the organization, I have a great office manager, I have great ISA managers, or mediocre ISA manager, and hopefully he's listening. And great VA manager. We have about 20, 25 VAs now. Just as it's all about the people. Now, when I've been shy about hiring in the past, or not shy, probably afraid or small-minded, I've just said, fuck it. Let's get these people going. Let's pay them well. And I started 401ks for the staff yesterday.
See, that's what's so interesting, because and you had mentioned this also, is I hear it all the time. I can't find anyone. I can't find anyone. I can't find anyone. They're on Indeed. And you're like, I'm getting people all the time. And the difference is you pay them.
Yes, exactly. You pay them.
I mean, rocket science.
Dude, I put an Indeed ad for a licensed real estate admin. And 4 days, I got her yesterday. And I'm paying her a great wage. And she's happy. And you know what? She'll be loyal as hell.
Well, I think the thing that people don't look at is time doesn't sit in our wallet, and time isn't where we go log in and see our bank account. And so what people don't measure is the energy, just like what you talked about. You're not going to let people exhaust your energy of the day. The energy of just thinking about as trying to fill a role over time versus, and I'm not saying hire quick, but I'm just saying, I know when people change the compensation that's offered, wow, I can't believe it. I got all kinds of leads coming in.
There's quality people out there. And
Quality
dude,
people.
I have hired almost my entire current staff from Indeed.
Wow.
Except for Nick, who's running Zillow, who was an agent. The rest of the entire staff for 3 organizations is from Indeed.
So you've got what, 25 VAs right now?
I think so. We got 2 more last week. Yeah.
And then you've got how many employees?
I think we're at about 20 there too.
About 20 there too. And I think it's always important because people always ask this, and you're very profitable too.
Talk to my CPA every day right now. I'm calling him at 1 o'clock, stressed out. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Oh.
I mean, here's the thing, like, to the business owners who are watching this, if you don't have a handle on your books, like, what are you even doing? You can get a free bookkeeping or some online bookkeeping service, or ask your CPA. Like, you should be dialed. And mine's not even as dialed as I want it to be. But
on that note, what would you say has been the #1 outsourced hire you've made that has been there for you in the important moments?
Coaching.
No, that wasn't a setup.
I know, but
we'll take it.
Yes,
good answer.
Coaching. Like, yes, you're a coach. I get to coach with you, and I'm very honored for that whole opportunity. But bro, like, I was talking last night, like, and we talk about it every day. Like, you got a trainer to work out. I do. It's just like, you just need to elevate yourself, and you're not going to do it on your own. To whoever's listening, questioning, you're not going to do it on your own. I mean, take all the free classes and seminars and read all the books that you can. And I hope that works out for you. But I really am a believer in coaching. Dude, I've had one like my whole career. I have a health coach. I have a marriage coach, right?
I like it. We used to call them therapists. Now everyone's just a coach, right?
Yeah.
I had plenty of, it was a lot of work being me. So how about this though? Within the outside of coaching, within the business though, there's one secret weapon you have. You don't have to go to them a lot, but that HR person.
Oh, dude, yes. Thank you.
Talk about that, Suneet. That's huge. Because a lot of people get growing and they don't even think about, it's first of all, who do I hire next? And then okay, now I've got all these people, but they leave that one out, especially around Christmas time, right? Christmas parties.
Yeah. Dude, yes, I can't wait to hear from them, but they're so busy because they're dealing with all this shit right now.
Right.
HR, like, if you have an organization of 5 people, you can afford maybe even 4 people. Mm-hmm. You can afford an HR third-party consultant. You need a handbook. You need to make sure that you are legal in your W-2 people who are working for you. You can't 1099 a fucking assistant, people. Like, you can't. And you will get cracked. You will. And I live in California, so I'll for sure get cracked. So I am protected, right? And we run everything through HR, and it's incredible. If I need to write someone up, they'll serve the write-up. They'll sit with me when I fire somebody, right? Like, they'll fire them for me. They'll do the onboarding. Like, you need to have a handbook. You need to make sure that you are legal. I was talking to somebody yesterday, and they said, here's my job description for this job that I hired. I said, yeah, well, that is illegal. This person is non-exempt because you fucking decide they're non-exempt. That's not a good enough reason. So know what you're doing with hiring, and hiring an HR company is terrific.
How, what's your day look like now? You've got these people around, you've got the employees, you've got the VAs, you've got Dale, great guy. What's your typical day look like? Your focus and your time?
I mean, my focus is on, I do a huddle, and I'll do maybe 1 to one meeting with the team every day. And then, spend a few hours coaching after that for our clients, which is incredible. And then after that, I'll go back and I usually talk to my ISAs pretty often, my VA ISAs. I love talking to those dudes over there in the Philippines. They're so grateful. Send them a computer. They're the most grateful people on the planet, dude. So I spent a lot of times with the VAs and ISAs, and some macro level, like accounting, just looking at everything, because that's important.
Would you say you're the closest to the leads, though? Absolutely.
Yeah. Yes, still, dude. I'm trying to get away from it, even though you told me not to. But I've spent 2 hours in Follow Up Boss every day this week. And after this,
you can't argue over a growth trajectory. It's kind of interesting because you take a look at it as I go. One of the things that I have seen mostly, and you were talking about this the other day, from where you go heavy with the marketing through all channels and video, and you're just not throwing crap out there. It's thought through, and it's very intentional and mapped out, and you're measuring, what's getting engagement, what's not. But for example, our pals, the Justin and Gary's and Lindahl's, the billboards and the radio and all that stuff, which you don't do. But with those guys, and most of them, and Dan too, they'll never move away from being the true marketing director. I mean, really, when you look at that, right? And when you look at all of them though too, that's their superpower. I mean, what would you say is your superpower in the database? 100%.
Is it in the database, or is it with the marketing too? I don't know. One of the two. Or is it?
See, you never get away from it because it's your message.
And I just know that there's opportunities being missed, and I have a knack for finding them. And I can, if I audit the CRM, I can usually. And now we have great processes built around everything that I want to audit because I've been doing it for so long. I can. We have an army working in our CRM. I can say, hey, you do this, and it really works.
Yeah, funny, isn't it? Let's shift gears a little bit. Talk about, you've got this big business, and I don't say this, I say it jokingly, but gosh, I'd never want to steal anyone's dreams. Everyone's a coach now, right? And yet you have been for years, long before we met, and always contributed. But here's what's pretty neat. A couple things in that space I want to go to. How many people right now are you coaching in addition to, and let me give you context, you're coaching, a coaching call is once a week, and that person gets text, email access to you in between calls as needed, not needy, as needed, right? How many people are you coaching right now?
We are 27 or 28. I have to look.
20. Yeah, okay, so you're in the 20s.
Yeah.
And
for
running,
now, working on increasing that. Nobody better be breathing down my neck with those numbers.
Now, and watch this. So let's go back to, because this isn't just purely about coaching, but it's about capacity. Because we've talked about this structure that you've built and is very profitable. I see the P&L. Okay, so we're not here just touting, hey, let's make it sound cool. And you've become a true business operator. That's what's very interesting, Suneet. You recognize way back, you know what it is? I want to be an operator. Okay.
Yep.
In a couple things around the coaching, what are the things that stand out the most to you as you're doing the coaching calls? What do you discover? And you've got varying levels. You've got some big teams. You've got some huge teams. You've got some top fives in the world.
Yeah.
1, 2s, and 3s they've been in the world. And then you have up and comers. Talk to us about what some of the things, because I think it's cool, where you're at, but you're in rare air, the 1,500 to where are you doing next year? 3,000? Is that what it's going to be?
I don't know, dude. I mean, I got those other
anyways, I'll get off that one. Right. But talk to, because you're coaching at those levels too. Teams doing 1,500, 1,300, 1,200, 1,000. You're coaching people that are at the 200 transactions. What are the things that stand out the most to you across them all? What do you see?
So I think that everybody needs to refine their processes all the time, right? Like I'm always doing it. I have like a running manual that I write in every day, and I tell someone to, make sure it's happening. So I think that a great, and I'm not only talking about how to work your CRM or something, right? Is everybody needs to be looking at their process and making sure they have a process. Like, okay, you know that you should recruit. You have a written down fucking plan on what you should be doing? I already know the answer to most, right? We know that we should be doing sales and running the CRM a certain way. Do you have it written down that you can share, or is it all shit you say at a meeting and hope people pick up? I know the answer to that in many cases too, right? So I don't think it's specific to the big teams or the smaller teams, up and comers to the OGs. You constantly have to be tweaking your process, and coaching is a great way to learn other processes, but you still need to tweak it for yourself. And it's everything, right? Like, even if that means having a different mindset, right? Like tweak your mindset. What kind of input do you have to get for your confidence? What kind of input do you have to get? And then, actually execute that. So that's kind of a broad answer, but I think it's encompassing, right?
When you look at, because you got lots of friends and no judgment to it. I mean, some people, it's purely a lifestyle thing. Hey, listen, I don't want to go big, but we've all heard people that, they've stayed stuck at what their team size is versus ones that go up. And even with whether they have a Zillow Flex or they've had realtor.com or whatever, what do you think is the big difference maker between those that, and maybe stuck isn't fair. I mean, they're doing well, making money, but they don't have that growth that they really want to have versus, you're getting up in your 1,000 plus all your peers. What do you think the one difference maker is, or if there's a couple of them?
I mean, I think it's really the action takers, really.
Yeah, psychos.
Right? The
psychos, right?
Yeah, the psychos, like we were saying, the psychos. And I mean, let's be real honest, like with people, with the viewers and listeners, like, should you be recruiting? Yes. I don't care what your size is. Like, I'm recruiting to my staff all the time. I have a fucking ad up for every job all the time. Right? Like, you need more bodies in there, maybe not to the level that some of us have, and that's okay. Maybe you have a avatar that you want to stick with, and good luck with that, but that's okay. But we know, I mean, just don't get cracked because you sat on your hands, right? Because how many times have we seen it? I don't need a recruit. We got a good thing. And then half the fucking team leaves over a shiny, sales pitch or some new guru, right? So like,
Yep.
That's it. Action takers and just recruiting. And I think that's a big action that people need to take and implementing. You go to an event, fucking go home and do something.
Yeah, it is. It's immediate action every single time. Executors. Would you say that one of the biggest hurdles outside of that, so they're an action taker, but it's getting that ISA piece right? Would you say that's one of the biggest pivots, that ISA department?
I think people get stuck in not doing anything, dude.
Really?
Yeah. All right. Do you want to? Here's how you start an ISA department on a budget. Go put an Indeed ad, hire 2 people. And if you're on a budget and can't do any of the great training that, John has and is out there, go to fucking YouTube or go to the CRM training and watch all the processes they have. I use Follow Boss. They have literally every process saved on their YouTube. There's some dude speaking about how to convert leads for free on YouTube, probably gets uploaded every 5 seconds. Just start there.
Yep. It's always action.
Just start. Yes, it's just action. Just start. Of course, I could teach you how to do a great ISA staff. Just reach out.
Yeah, just reach out. We got it. Is it what? Suneet.cheplaklivcoaching.com.
Yeah,
there it was. Yes. There was the subtle pitch. When you what would you say is your number one recruiting strategy? If there's one thing, let me say it this way, or ask it this way: the one that has the greatest impact. That if you pulled that one thing out, listen, I'd still recruit. I'll find a way, because I think the thing that hopefully viewers and listeners are capturing is, geez, these guys aren't talking rocket science. They're talking about like hard work, which isn't sexy anymore in our world. But when you do hard work, guess what? You get a sexy life. What would you say is the one thing, if you pulled it out of the recruiting process right now, that yeah, you'd still recruit, but the work, the amount of effort you'd have to put in would change dramatically?
I think the multi-channel marketing, honestly, right? So for those of you that don't know, we create a video and send it on an email and post it out. Sometimes we do sponsored ads, sometimes we don't. And different than what the instructions are, I hit the entire Asian population that is still engaged in the audience, about 14,000. And we're consistent on that for years, right? And I think that one piece, the first thing that Cheplak tells you when you come in on how to recruit, the very first thing, I think that one piece, it's really like assets, right? Like we build the asset and it's like, it just lasts forever. And I don't care if I get like, I'll look on my own Facebook, and when I post it organically, I don't get a lot of views. The algorithm doesn't like my long form video. I'm okay with that. I know that through emails and through sponsored ads and everything. And I mean, it's part of the omnipresence and it works, period.
And I think here's again, I come back to this point of, if I had Scott of Gary Ashton and Gary get on, and Dan Beer gets on, and Justin gets on, Lindahl gets on. I think that, and correct me if I'm wrong, because you talk to them all. I do a call with them, but you guys are all chatting day to day. What are you guys doing here and this and that? But wouldn't it be fair to say all of you run epic businesses? A Lori Reader, I mean, the list could, Veronica, the list could go on and on.
I'm honored to be on that list. Yes.
You all are close friends. Okay. Y'all run really, really good. I don't think I named 1,000 less than, I mean, Dan, but Dan's in a funny money, 700 million doing it.
Yeah. He makes way more money than me, but half the transaction. So there's no doubt.
But let me ask you this. How many of you, including your close friend, Scott, who works with Gary, have the same exact ISA program? How many?
None.
Talk about that, man.
Yes, like honestly, like I disagree with most people's ISA programs every day. I'm like, you do what? I think the closest parallel is maybe there's none, right? Like the way Dan does it is night and day different than mine.
Yeah.
Ashton and I are a little different, but at the base, I think maybe the same. But that's about it, right? And I'm very
and watch this. So let's go beyond the ISA department, and like who your next hire should be. That's not dot to dot either, based from organization to organization. Fair?
Never. No. Like, and here's the thing is, hopefully you have a coach that's helping you make these calls, right? But you have to.
If not, we have Suneet here for you.
Yes. Okay. But you have to be a business operator, and whatever you're doing, like read the damn book. But your fear of hiring like staff is going to inhibit your growth. Absolutely.
Yeah, so you're constantly in what you said, what you described is you're hiring when you're at 80 to 90% capacity. When an employee is at 80 to 90% capacity, you're hiring the next ones. Whereas most people, what percentage of people, if you're just throwing something off the top of your head, what percentage of people hire when their staff employees are at 120% capacity?
Oh, dude, probably most, probably 80%, right? Yeah. And it's a disservice, and it's so much friction. Like, protect your energy. My energy is everything these days, man. Like, I don't want to get pissed off. So, like, just protect this. Just yes.
Well, I think though too, Suneet, because we come back to your retention numbers are good. They're in line with where they need to be. But what people, they get so down into the, well, how many leads they got, or what was the split, or what was this or that. No, it's probably has to do with the employees they're interacting with too. Because if an employee is at 120% capacity, they're humans. They're not going to just, sure, there's some people that are drama, but they're going to talk to the agents about it. And that reflects on you and that agent's experience. And then the agent has a bad day and it contributes to attrition or retention.
Dude, absolutely. The staff creates the culture,
Period.
right? The staff creates the culture because they are the static pieces there that have the most interaction. And we've got really lucky, thanks to Indeed, everyone that's listening, and a good hiring process. I mean, maybe not great, but good. And a lot
Well,
of
listen,
like
Suneet,
feeling.
listen, let's so since when have you been able to predict who's going to be productive as an agent?
Never. I tried a couple of times. I gave up like fucking 5 years ago.
That ain't gonna happen. No, right?
No. And you know, for everyone wanting to run discs and this, I don't even know the other names. I don't even know where to find a disc test at anymore, dude. Like I could give a shit. Like it's really about
What are you looking for?
yeah, I just want to feel that. I just want, you know, the energy, the experience, like I just want to feel get that. I just want to feel good about the person. And that's a shitty way to do it. There's not a fucking checklist, but hey, I
You
want
know
to feel good
what?
about the
Here's what's
person.
great, and I don't know, love him and I hadn't followed much of his stuff before. You know what? Elon Musk wants to know. He's looking for excellence. And I'll tell you what he said on how, maybe you heard it on how he said he finds it, but he goes by gut. How does he feel?
Yeah.
And I don't know. I mean, I might want to copy him then.
Yeah.
You know, we're taught so much of this structure, but you know, his big thing, first, tell me your life story. I want to hear the battles they've gone through.
Yeah. Good.
And if they were responsible, if someone else rescued them, or if they were the one that pulled themselves out of it. And that was the simplicity in how he broke it down. So you're bang on. Bang on. Look at Jasmine.
Dude.
Look at Jasmine.
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah. I ask people more than anything else, like if they have a pet and if they're obsessed with their pet, what their favorite band is, right? Like, dude, dog owners, being that you're a dog owner now, right? Like, do you like pets? Do you love your dog? Oh, I'm obsessed. Perfect.
Right? Yeah. Or you know what you got to do, or the dog sniffing thing. I remember some friends, they'd say, hey, someone came in my house and my dog didn't like them. That was the last time they were coming to my house. They're a bad person. I mean, like some people like live by that, man. We're weirdos.
Yeah.
But in a good way, right? I tell people, hey, listen, man, I'm not here to exploit your dog, but if you want to help on some marketing, take a cute picture of your dog and post it. Have that get your social media initiative going at least. I mean, I'm talking about people that aren't doing anything. I mean, yeah, amazing. So, how many agents you got right now?
I think on the team we're at 77, and Big Block as a brokerage, the whole encompassing number is like 130 right now, which is kind of light, and I should be at 500. So I'm not satisfied by any means, but even if it was at 500, I wouldn't be satisfied. So,
there's a question that was prompted, and I've laughed about it too, but so many leaders, and there's two parts of this, Suneet, when they're moving from sales to being the team leader, and oh my God, what do I say to people when they ask for Suneet? You know, I want to list with Suneet, I want to work with Suneet. And I think that this next question I'm going to ask you is congruent with that, is how did you pull off getting people to, hey, listen, don't come to me, go to leadership? Because that's the other thing. Agents always want to come to leadership. How did you do that one? Because that can seem like such a mountain for people. And I'll guarantee you there are listeners right now that are either on the come up or your peers that are dealing with that right now, where they're, oh, I've got to handle this person or that person. How did you move yourself away from that and not have it have a retention impact?
There are some of the
legacies.
Well, some of the more challenging agents who may be productive as well, that sometimes I do have to come in and be very direct, which I'm comfortable with coming in and being direct. But overall, like, no, you need something, ask management. Like, yeah, I got a question, ask this person, ask this person, ask this person. I don't know the answer. We have about 200 listings on all day long. I get a fucking text every minute. I probably got 40 since we've been on, asking about how to access one of my listings. No, ask this person, ask this person. So create a system that you train people towards going all the time, right? And
well, and I think the key piece though, Suneet, and this brings it back around full circle that everyone needs to hear. He can do that because he's made sure to hire right. And I'm not saying he's perfect all the time and gets it right all the time, but hiring right from paying people so you get good people so that when you do, like, people could say they're not a good delegator. And you know what? No, that's a symptom of the disease. The disease is you're not a good hirer. And so you can't delegate. You have no confidence in it. I think what you illustrate here is trust equals capacity. You trust when you push stuff off, it's going to happen. The question for leaders to ask when they're letting go of things, I can't let go, I can't let go, they want me. No, what you just said is, I don't trust who I would give it to.
yes, yeah, 100%, 100%. Like, you know, everyone should be encouraged to find their own answer and solution. Like, I should be the last person that you ask. And
Mhm.
part of bringing in leadership too, that many real estate team leaders, brokers, owners that I experience do, is the indoctrination to the agent population just sucks, right? Like, you don't take the time there. And that's something that I have been intentional about all the time is hire right, even if you do hire fast or you hire sloppily, which I've been guilty of both, and this have both been successful and not successful, but that
Right.
indoctrination to the agents is another key piece.
Let me break it down. And Suneet, you know, as I restate this, tell me if I'm restating this right. What Suneet's saying is you don't throw someone in a job, get them to work, doing the work right away, and all of a sudden this person out of nowhere is asking me to do things. Actually, be less concerned with the job they're doing first, get really neurotic about their relationship they build with everyone first, because if you've made the right hire, you know, you've done the right work, it's not get them in there and grind, because listen, I don't know you, I've got to have business intimacy. So what you're talking about is, okay, get the right person, but make sure that they build the relationships before they start charging at the work.
Yes, yes, that is everything. That indoctrination, building that relationship, right?
Mhm.
And I've been very intentional about it, and I think it's worked out really well.
Yeah, really good. So I am appreciate you, dude. That's
Yeah,
awesome.
same.
I'm a coaching client, and I'm going into 2022. What would you say would be the top 3 simple things? And I'm not saying rocket science, because we know it's not. You and I talked, we were joking about this yesterday, man. I'm just like, dude, we just go.
Yes. Well, I
But what are the
mean,
top
so
3 things you would tell people, no matter where they're at in their size of their team, but talking to team leaders?
so you really want to be crystal clear on your direction, right? And that's really simple to say, but so many people aren't, right? Like, be crystal clear. Number one. Number two, recruit some fucking agents today. I got 2 for the day. How many do you got? Recruit some agents.
Yep.
Um, and really, I think it's great that you have that session coming up with Kyle, but figure out your digital presence, figure out your marketing. Like, me hiring a full-time content team has been a game changer. So I would get crystal clear on where you're going. I would KFR, get some damn agents in there and working, right? Selling, get them onboarded, get them trained, get them making money so they tell their agent friends, and then get your friggin' content game tight. Really simple.
Yep.
And that's
Awesome.
what it is every year, right?
Yeah.
It makes no difference that it's 2022. Just do the fundamentals, with the
Yep.
new
Simple
fundamental
stuff.
being content, right?
Yep. Awesome. I appreciate you, man. It's fun riding along and doing great things. Oh, one other thing too. January 28th and 29th, Suneet is opening the hood on this engine he's talking about at my home in Baton Rouge, exclusive 40 people from lead to close. But what's really neat, though, is part of the lead process is the basics of the CRM. And some people say, well, I know how to do the CRM. And you know what's very interesting? When you get underneath the hood, you find out there's some things in there that maybe you're not doing. You know, one thing to know you know, anyone, wherever you're at with your business, if you're a 200 agent TE or 200 transaction, or you're in the 1500s, it's nothing big that's going to make the difference. It's just those tiny pieces that you got to get in the room with people. So January 28th and 29th, we will be in Baton Rouge at my home.
Yes, sir.
That'll be 2022. How about that?
Yeah, I'm booking the flights in a couple of hours, so we'll see how to get there. I'm excited.
Good. And then I can reach out to myself or Suneet, not myself for coaching, to coach with Suneet. I offered Suneet out for coaching. I presented, it's a funny story. I'll end on this. So I've got coaching clients, and like with Suneet and I, we worked together, I think about 3 years, and a bunch, 3, 4, 5 years. And so he speaks at my mastermind in September, and I say, hey, guess what? Suneet's now a coach. So all of a sudden the text messages start coming in. Hey, Chep, hey, don't worry about my feelings. It's okay. You can go.
Yeah.
Oh, I can. So I think 20 of those people had been working with me, and that's the beauty is they see that what you're doing is working. They see the contribution. So Suneet's right there to help people that are interested in growing their business, and he's doing it. No theory, baby. Suneet, appreciate you, brother, as always.
Thank you, sir. Yes. Thanks, bro.